Okay, welcome and thank you for joining us as we launch the Riders on the Storm. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sherri Kukla, and we're going to start this party off with a giveaway. Tonight we'll be giving away 5 copies, print copies of the book, and 2 mugs, which I'm sorry I don't have the real mugs here, but if you can look at those, this is kind of give you an idea of what the mugs look like. And the tracking tells me they'll be in on the 20th. So as soon as I get them, I will ship them to whoever wins the mugs. And then also we have bookmarks. Anyone that's here that wants a bookmark, I'll just need to get your address and I will be happy to send you a bookmark. And I can even send you more than one if you'd like to share them with friends. So we're going to start off drawing a name, and I got a feeling I'm going to be drawing names of people that aren't here yet. So let's see. Oh, how about that? I drew a name of someone that's here, Roy. Roy.
Yes, all
Okay.
right. Yeah.
So, Roy,
Oh,
what would you like? Would you like the book or the mug?
well, I believe I already paid for the book.
That sounds familiar. You told me that you had pre-ordered one.
Yes, I
Okay.
had so I guess the mug would be fantastic.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to post, well, you may have my email address. If you don't, I will post it in the chat and you can send me your mailing address because I'll send you the mug when that comes
Now,
in.
now I have a question on the book. Okay, so I pre-ordered it. So when should I get it?
I believe they'll start shipping tomorrow, I think.
Wonderful.
Where did you order it from? Do you know?
I online from one of your links that said
Okay.
pre-order
The,
now.
there was Amazon, there was Barnes and Noble, and there was several different places. So the way I understand it, they're supposed to be able to start shipping on the day that it launches tomorrow.
Wow, I'm a little worried now if maybe I did it correctly or not, because I don't want to lose out on that book.
Well,
Well,
did you get a receipt? Like,
no,
no?
no.
Hmm. Okay. Well, you do have another chance to win a book because all of the people that pre-ordered, I thought you sent me a receipt. I'm going to have to check because everyone who pre-ordered also goes into a drawing to win a signed paperback, or I mean hardback copy. So we'll check on that and I'll talk
Thank
with
you
you
so much.
and see what
Thank
you
you.
end up with. So,
I'm
okay.
excited about it.
Oh, I appreciate your enthusiasm. So I wanted to thank everyone for being here tonight, for taking the time to celebrate the launch of Riders on the Storm. Whether you're here with us live or you're watching this on social media, I really appreciate your support. You can't believe how encouraging it is to just see someone click like or love or comment or share. It's very, very encouraging to me as an author. Riders on the Storm is a historical true crime novel that tells the story behind a largely forgotten spree killing case in American history. And this month marks the 75th anniversary of the crime, which makes this time that we're together especially meaningful. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my focus mode and introduce our co-hosts. Okay, so right now you should be able to see myself and Deanna and Jared and yourself. Is that what you guys are seeing? Okay. All right. So, no,
I don't
Deanna,
see
the
Jared.
co-hosts, we see everything.
Oh, okay. I have to
Yeah.
go back to that screen.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and so Deanna Mosher is my friend, my Bible study partner, and one of my first readers. And so she and I have one other first reader, Tracy. They're the ones that see the very first transcript or manuscript when I write something, and I sit on pins and needles waiting to hear what are they going to say about it because no one has seen it yet except me. And so it's so helpful, the feedback that she has given. She's going to monitor the chat if we have questions, and you can submit questions for myself as well as for Jared. And I'll introduce Jared next. He is the audio narrator, and I was raving about you and your audio work, Jared, a little bit before you came on. I told them all that I got to listen to um, part of the last half of the book on Saturday, and I just could not stop listening. I mean, even though I knew what's going to happen, I had to keep listening, and I just really loved it. So, if you have questions for Jared about the narrating process, just put those into the chat, and Deanna will be letting us know what those questions are. And then also, he's going to read one of the chapters from the book, one of the shorter chapters, and we'll get to hear that. And I'm excited to hear that again. So we're going to jump into the Q&A session right after I thank a couple of people. Jill from the Murder Shelf Book Club podcast. I thought maybe Jill was going to be here. She might join in a little bit later. She interviewed me last week. We had a really wonderful talk, and she's timing the podcast going live to coincide with the book going live tomorrow. So wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can search for her on Facebook and find a link to where they're available. They're also available on YouTube. And again, that's called the Murder Shelf Book Club podcast. And she was so easy to talk to. It's like we had been friends forever. I really enjoyed talking with her. Harvey from Harvey Talks Prison YouTube channel. I was hoping he could have been here, but he wasn't able to make it. He actually was in the Missouri State Penitentiary. I believe it was in the late 50s and 60s. He was in several prisons over a 29-year period. And he has this channel called Harvey Talks Prison. It's a wealth of information about prisons. And I actually got to take a virtual tour of the Missouri State Pen, which is in the early chapters of the book. And then he also was an early reader of the book to check out those prison chapters and make sure, do these sound real? And so check out his prison channel because it's really interesting. And he tells his own story on there too, why he was in prison and how long he had been in there. And he has a really interesting story. And then also, I mentioned earlier, some of you were here, Cassie Kerr. She is the court reporter, the federal court reporter in Oklahoma, and she was able to point me in the right direction to get the court transcripts for the Oklahoma hearing. I almost called it a trial, but I know now it wasn't a trial. It was a hearing. And so that was so helpful. And then she stayed in touch. She was so encouraging. She said they have a book club in the courthouse, and I believe the book club is going to read the book. And because of that, she inspired me to put book club discussion questions in the back of the book. And so if any of you are part of book clubs or know somebody that is, that might be helpful, that would make them be interested in reading the book. Okay, we're ready to jump into some questions. Deanna, you're on mute. Oh,
Yes, I know. I'm trying to
okay.
get off.
Sorry.
So the first question is from a bunch of people: Laura Harvey, Jan Hogley, Jesse Nugent, Julie Krogh, Debbie Mason, Roy Durantes, sorry, Laurel Whitney, Sherry Tavares, and Mickey Weaver. And the question is, what made you want to write this book, and where did the idea come from?
That's a great question. And this was a really big switch for me, to switch just from faith-based mysteries and murder mysteries and jump into a true crime. This book is about the crime that the Doors' 1971 song of the same name, Riders on the Storm, is about. And the way it came about that I was going to write this book is our grandson, who was 12 at the time, last spring, he comes and visits a few times a year. And one of the things we do while he's here, he's a musician. We sit and we listen, we watch YouTube clips of old rock and roll groups, listen to interviews with them. We were actually listening to an interview with the keyboardist from The Doors. This was a 12-year-old interview. He's since passed away. And he was talking about the making, just what went into writing that song. And so then afterwards, I was telling my grandson that I had looked up what that song was about, specifically the line about there's a killer on the road, and it talks about something about a family. And I meant to have the lyrics here, but I don't. And I told him that that's about a real crime. And my grandson said, "You should write a book about that, Grandma." And I didn't really take it seriously because I don't write true crime. And then he had gone home the next day, and I had to go to the dentist. My husband drove me to the dentist, sat out in the car. I come back out with the very bad news that I have to have a root canal. And my husband's response is, "I've been thinking about what Wyatt says, and I think you should write that book." And I said, "I just told you I got to have a root canal." Anyway, I came home, I did a little more research on it. I told him, "Well, I if I write it, I go, that's all you're going to hear me talking about between now, this was late April, now until this book is done." And that's pretty much how it went. And so I jumped into it and got really fascinated by it.
That's an amazing story.
Oh, and I did get the root canal after I finished writing the book.
Um, so the next question is by Debbie Mason, and she asks, "What was the most challenging fact to verify?"
That would have been the date of the capture of the killer, because the all of the newspaper reports had the same date. They were in jive with each other. The court transcript was different. So I went with what the court transcript said. And I went over it and over it and over it to make sure that I got that accurate.
All right. Um, and Jan Hogley asks, "What was the best part of writing the book?"
The best part would have been kind of twofold. The research. I really love researching. And I got into the newspapers.com. There, when you subscribe to it, you can get into their archives from the 50s and even earlier. And then I'd find myself running into other interesting stories, and I'd get caught up reading all of those, and I'd have to, some I printed out and put in a file, like maybe I might want to write about this later. But so it was the research, and then second, it was the connection with my grandson, because whenever I would see him, he was very interested to know what I had learned, and it was just a really fun thing to share in common with him.
Thank you. Great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
And Roy Durantes asks, "What do you want to accomplish through this book?"
You know, I saw that question and I felt a little embarrassed because the first thought was maybe we can make some money off of this because true crime is a popular genre, and The Doors, that's a popular song. But once I'm, really into it and investing so much time into it, I realized I would like to make a difference in people's lives. And I try to do that with all my books. And when I started off with this one, I wondered, how do you do that with true crime? I mean, how do I work God into true crime? How do I work an uplifting message into true crime? But I feel like I did. And I feel like at the end, I am leaving people with some hope and something they can do to try to make the world better, to try to overcome some of the evil that's in the world.
Hmm, very good.
Thank you.
Laurel Whitney asks, "How did you get started writing, and who are your favorite writers?"
Okay. I started writing in fifth grade. I don't remember any earlier than that, but I just remember I just started writing stories. And as a teenager, I had a few articles published in a magazine, and I used to always think, I'm going to be the youngest person to ever publish a book. Well, I tend to be a procrastinator, and when enough years went by that I realized it's too late to be the youngest, I just thought, I'll just wait and be the oldest. But my first book was published in my early 60s, and so, but I've just always liked writing. I don't really have a favorite author. The authors that I've read over this last year are all people that I just discovered in the last year. One would be Creston Mapes. He writes Christian thrillers. Dan Walsh, he introduced me to the world of historical fiction, and I didn't realize I liked historical fiction. And he's got a little bit of everything historical, he's got contemporary mystery, and then he has a whole series that involved dogs. And he used to be a traditionally published author, and then he came up with this idea for a rescue dog story. I just read this on his Facebook page recently, and his publisher said, no, dog stories don't sell. That's when he became an indie author doing his own publishing. That's his best-selling book of all times is that dog one. And now he has a whole series of the dog ones. And then there's also Michael Swiger or Swigger, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He too has been in prison, and a couple of the books he wrote in prison. And so his are also probably could be considered Christian thriller books. So those are some authors that I like. Do you have we can be a little bit more casual since we don't have the 30 or 40 people. Did you have some questions for Jared yet?
Yeah. I was, these are my questions, Jared.
No problem.
I'm like, do you read the book first when you narrate?
It depends. Sometimes I will read it a few chapters ahead and work with it that way. Other times I will read the entire book all the way through. With this one being a true story and as much awesome prep work as Sherri did in the packet that I sent her, she filled out so much information in there that I was able to know where it was going before I dove in. With this one, I read a couple chapters ahead at a time instead of reading the whole thing first. So I was able to kind of keep up with it that way.
That's cool. I love narrators. I listen to so many books. I've usually got an audiobook and an ebook going at the same time. So I
Same.
love the narrators. They're great. Um, my other question, how long did it take to do the whole book?
Well, we started back in, I want to say November, I believe it was. We started working on it, and I'm a little slow compared to a lot of narrators. It's not my full-time job, so it takes me usually 3 to 4 months to finish a book, and it's because I'm doing a lot of other stuff at the same time. But if I can just sit down and work straight through, I can probably do one in an 8 hour book probably in 20 or 30 hours. It's just that ends up being so spread out for when I can find time to do it, time to get in the studio and that kind of thing.
All right. And then I don't know at one point that you would like to read from the book.
Yeah, whenever you want me to. I've got it pulled up on my Kindle here so I can read whenever you're ready.
I'll do a couple more questions just to see if other people might join in so that they'll be able to hear him read that because I'm excited to hear that too. Did
Is
you
it
have,
time for another prize?
oh, I forgot to set my timer. My phone's right here with 8 minutes and I never hit start. It's, we're over the time. Okay, let's draw another prize. We'll draw a couple. Okay, let's see. Deanna, you
Oh,
win a
yay!
prize. Okay,
Actually, I'll take the paperback.
okay, all right, let me write
That
that
way I
on.
can give it to
Okay,
somebody else.
okay. Okay, I'll draw another name too because we're overdue for the 8 minutes. Thank you for the reminder. I can't believe I'm drawing the ones of people that are here. Bill Kassler.
Well, wow, that's awesome.
Okay, Bill, do you want the book or the mug?
Let me take the book,
Okay, all right.
especially if you sign it.
Yes, I'm going to sign them.
That's awesome.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. And some of you are that are here, I don't think all of you took part in a survey. We were trying to decide what would be the best time to do this because we've had people all over the United States interested. In fact, one lady, she left a review and I'd asked her, did she want to be a part of it? She's in the UK. She goes, well, it would be midnight when you're doing it. And I said, well, if you do come, you'll get a prize for being the farthest away attendee. But anyway, of the people who took the survey, I was going to do a drawing for that. And a lady named Linda Cunningham won that drawing. So she gets a book. Um, okay, how about a question? Oh, I'll really set the timer now. Okay.
Okay, the last question I have right now is Mickey Weaver asks, what was the hardest part for you to write?
The killing scenes. Yeah. So that was a tough one. Um, okay.
That's all the questions so far. Nobody's put anything in the comments.
Okay. If anyone has questions, you can just ask right out loud because there's enough people that I mean there's few enough people. It's not confusing if you ask a question if you have one.
I wanted to ask one of Jared. I thought I sent it in. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I want to know how'd you start doing this? Did somebody tell you have a great voice and that's what made you do this?
Well, a little bit, yeah. My grandmother, when I was in like sixth grade, encouraged me to do more with voice work. I've been doing theater since '99, and my background is actually as a radio DJ.
Oh,
And
geez.
I did that for several years. And I'm a high school teacher now. I teach audiovisual productions and theater, and then do audiobook narration on the side. So I've been wrapped up in this world for years, and then finally kind of jumped into audiobooks about 3 years ago. I kind of got my feet wet in that and have been doing a few here and there ever since.
That's great. I was so interested to see how you did that. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could
Anyone
hear
else
you.
have questions for Jared?
I have a question for him.
Okay.
Do you have a studio at your home? And if so, what kind of investment did you make to do that? That's interesting to me.
I do not currently have a studio at my home. I'm using the one that is at our school. We have a studio there. So when we're not in school hours, I will go in and use it in the afternoons and weekends and record there. I'm in the process of building one at home as it comes through. As the money comes in from the different books and stuff that I've done, I'm using a little here and there to start constructing one. At this point, I've gathered most of my recording equipment, but I haven't built the studio space yet. Um, from what I've looked into it, you can build one for as little as a couple $100s, or you can go up into the thousands. And I'm probably not going to go quite that high when I get mine finished.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell a story that I thought was kind of humorous that I don't think Jared won't mind if I tell. But the funny thing about this, Jared, is I had been kind of pondering all after I had been listening on Saturday to most of this, that there's so many different voices, especially in this book. I think we figured there was like 84 characters or something. And I wondered if you ever get confused about what your own real voice is supposed to sound like because you're doing all these other voices. So I had been thinking about that. Well, one of the edits, and there was very few edits. I listened to 35 chapters the other day, and I think I only found 7 things I needed to discuss with him. One of them, I told him there was kind of a voice change. It sounded like probably he had been doing something and then came back to it. But he said that when he has to, I guess, dub in something, he has the hardest time doing the one that's his own voice when he's the narrator. And
Character voices are easy. I can get into character, I can talk how they talk, but remembering how my narration sounded in the moment is very difficult because it's what emotion was I using? How deep was my voice at that time? What was I
Mhm.
trying to, and it's so hard to get back into me versus, a character, they're a set thing. Me, I'm more fluid.
That's funny. Yeah,
Understandable.
that's good.
Understandable.
Okay. And if you need to send a question in a chat for either myself or Jared, you can do that for those of you who your mics aren't working. If you have any questions, just let us know. So, any other ones at this time?
Nope, not right now.
Okay.
Sherri, I do have a question, Sherri. Are
Okay.
you the only person that has written on this subject?
No, I'm not. And I discovered that partway through this book as far as a print book. There is a lot of stuff on the internet, but nothing that goes into the depth that my book does because I had these court transcripts. I had about 1,200 pages of court transcripts to work from. So there is another book. It's not nearly as many pages, and I did not read it. And that's all I can tell you on that. If you do an Amazon search, you might be able to find that if you're curious about it. Okay. Any other questions?
No,
I,
not
I
at
Oh,
this
have a
time.
Roy?
question.
Okay.
So I'm looking for your audiobook, but I can't find it. I just went to Amazon. Maybe I'm looking wrong, but now that I know that there's an audio version, well, I want that too.
I don't blame you. It's good. And Audible, which is
Audible.
the organ or the company, the branch of Amazon that does the audiobooks, they have it in review right now. And so it says sometime within the next 10 days. I don't know. Amazon usually estimates longer than it's really going to take for a book to go live. What's your experience with that, Jared? Do you think it'll take all 10 days?
My experience, it normally doesn't. It normally takes 5 days, 7 days, somewhere in there. I have had one or two that went as far as 20 days because of the size of the book. This one wasn't extremely long, but I had an 18-hour book that I did a while back that it took almost a month for it to get processed and accepted and everything. But this one should not take that long.
Okay. And was this one about 8 hours or 7 hours? Do you know?
It was just under 8 hours. I believe it was 8 hours or 7 hours and 38 minutes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And Deanna, did you see that question that came through from Cassie? Can you read that?
No. Oh, okay. I'm missing the whole thing. Okay, I see. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Um, yes, she wants to know, tell us about your view of the justice system after writing this book.
Well, I don't want to give away for the people that haven't read it, but I would say that at times, I'm going to turn my timer off. We'll give away a prize as soon as I'm done with this answer. There was some very frustrating things that happened regarding the justice system in this book. And because things happened in Oklahoma and California, given where we are nowadays, I'm really kind of surprised that it happened the way it did. What happened in Oklahoma, I would have expected to have happened in California and vice versa. So I just think that in the 50s, as well as, in the 2000s where we are, there's frustrating things and there's good things with the justice system. And I know that one of the attorneys, and there's several chapters in there, and these were all taken right out of newspaper archives, where he was frustrated with how something that was handled and went and did a lot of speaking events encouraging people to get out and vote and, take an active part in society so that you can have an influence on how the justice system works. So I think that's as true today as it was back then, that as citizens, we need to be an active part of getting the right people in place so that things are done right. But there was something that happened in the book that made me pretty angry, and that involved the courts. So when I talk to Cassie, if I talk to your book club after they've read the book, then I can say more, but I don't want to take away the suspense for people who haven't read it. So, okay, let me do a prize. See if we can stay on a roll and get someone else that's really here. Let's see. Jamie, she was here, but she had to leave. Okay, I'll ask her what she wants. I think we still have a mug left. Okay. Um, all right. Jared, do you want to read now?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. Chapter 7.
Yes, please. I'll set the
All right.
scene. So we've had 6 chapters of kind of getting to know early the criminal, his early life, and then also getting to know some of the victims that he's going to be encountering later. And chapter 7 is a scene with the criminal and with another man. Okay.
I'll go ahead and say if my voices don't line up exactly with the voice from the book, it just happens sometimes when
Okay.
the actual. So, and
Okay.
I apologize if you hear my dog barking in the background too.
Okay.
Chapter 7, December 27th, 1950, El Paso, Texas. How much you want for this one? That one there will set you back $45. Gus Madison, the gun store owner, didn't know how to take the look his customer gave him, especially with that one bad eye. Was he glaring at him, or did that eye just not focus right? Something wrong with the eyelid, that was for sure. But whatever it was, he was pretty sure the fellow did not like the price. Now, if you go with a standard model, did I ask for a standard model? A snarl backed the clip words. No, Gus said, you didn't, but you seemed unsure about the price. Did I say something about the price? Well, he had him there. No, he didn't actually say anything, not in so many words, but this young man sure had a way about him with his looks. As they say, if looks could kill. I'll take it, the surly customer said as he began peeling off $5 bills from the roll he pulled out of his pocket. Gus pulled out his order pad, dated it, then looked up as the young man placed the money on the counter between the two of them. I'll need your name and address. Name's Billy Cook. W.E. Cook, if you want to be all legal like. And your address? Ain't got one. Gus looked up as he spoke, then over the young man's shoulder out the window, wondering if he lived in his car. There was no car in the parking lot. I see, he said, although he didn't. So where are you from? Nowhere. I roam. Billy tapped on the glass display case where the gun he was purchasing waited for the transaction to be complete. Now I'll have my gun, just like I told my pa when I left him back in Joplin. I'm going to live by the gun and roam. Gus turned the pad around and held out his pen. Put your John Hancock here. He motioned to the signature line on the bottom of the pad. Billy gave him a look with that eye. Again, Gus shivered inside, wondering what was going on in that guy's head. And was he really the kind of guy who needed a gun? What do you mean? Relieved there wasn't a more sinister reason for the look he gave him, Gus realized Billy Cook had never heard the phrase. Your signature, Gus said. Sign the bottom of this form for me, and then we're all done. Billy scrawled something that may have been his name, then looked around the store. I need me some ammo too. While Gus gathered the 32 caliber ammo, he made small talk, as was his custom. So, what do you plan on doing with that little snub nose? He looked up as he tore the customer copy of the receipt off his pad, then pulled the gun from the display case. That's my business, Billy said. He shoved the receipt in his back pocket, loaded the gun, thrust it into his jacket, and left the store without another word.
Wow. You guys want to hear the rest of it?
I loved it.
That's
Oh,
Yes,
great.
I
Me
am gonna.
too.
Great job. Great job.
Yeah.
Love
Awesome.
it.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's
mean,
it's like another scene from No Country for Old Men.
yeah. I'm gonna have to
um,
get the audio when it comes out for
Oh
oh
sure.
yeah,
yeah.
I gotta get
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing. So that will be available through Amazon. And I think is that the only place you can get the audio, Jared, is through Amazon?
Yes, Audible will be the only place that it'll be listed.
Mhm.
To my knowledge, it may be available through Apple. I think Amazon has a deal with Apple that you can kind of go through their stuff too, but officially it's through Audible.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, yeah. We explored the idea of doing what they call going wide so that it's available at all over the place, but that became too complex and neither one of us were real familiar with how it works, so we decided to just do it this way. So I'm really excited about it. I love it. Yeah. I might listen to it all again myself.
I definitely
And
enjoyed doing it, and with it being set Oklahoma and areas like that, it was voices I was comfortable with. A lot of times, I've done a lot of fantasy novels, and those voices and accents are way out there. This one was a lot more down to earth and a little easier to get into.
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Are you from that area?
I live in Tennessee. I live in West Tennessee, and that's
Oh,
where I'm
okay.
from. I have an aunt that lives in Texas, so I've spent a little time out that way. But just the more uh, Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, the more southern accents were a lot easier for me. Thanks, Casey. Cassie, sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Wow. Yeah, I was telling them earlier before you got on that you had done one of my other books in my Dry Brook Murder Mystery series, and that's how we met. And I'm really glad we did. I haven't really pushed the audio on that too much and probably not had very much sales, but I think this one's going to be really different. And I'm definitely going to push this one a lot more. And so I'm just really excited about it. And I was so caught up listening to it on Saturday, and as I told them earlier, I kept thinking, did I write that? I mean, it's just like he's acting out this story I'm so caught up in. And then I was talking to some of the ladies the other day about a couple of the scenes. I would say 85% of the book is completely factual. I had to fill in about 15% just to fill out the story, especially in the courtrooms. I had to invent people that were listening to the court because I can't just put in the whole transcript. And so I have to have reasons why, we're taking a break and we're not hearing everything this person is saying. But someone had asked me, well, this one thing, did you write or was that, verbatim? And I'm starting to get confused on, which parts were me and which parts really happened. But what I tried to do, I really tried to research the characters. I printed out pictures for all as many of the people as I could find, which Jared mentioned something about all the pre work that I gave him. And I gave you those pictures too, didn't I, Jared? So you could see what the
You did.
characters looked like. And I try
You
to
did.
learn as much about them as I could so that the parts I had to make up, I thought there's a high chance that they would be realistic. And an interesting little side note, one of the ladies that I talked to, who was the granddaughter of one of the detectives. And which I will mention, I didn't have this in my notes, but it didn't occur to me that 75 years later, there's still people that are hurting because of this. She said that her grandfather never got over this case. You know, he took the sorrow of it to his grave. And she lived, her mother died when she was young, and she was raised by her grandparents. And so because of that, even though she wasn't alive when it happened, she was still impacted by it. So much so, originally she was going to read the whole book to write a review for me. She couldn't read it. It was too upsetting to her.
Wow.
But I did mark the scenes that they were in, and I asked, would you check those and tell me, did I represent, your grandfather or your grandmother? Did I represent them accurately? And I thought this was so neat. She said that I had a scene where her grandmother's wearing a particular apron at Christmas time, and she said, how did she know that she had, an apron like that? And I just thought that was really neat. I just really tried to put myself in their places, to watch the scene in my head. How would this play out at this time period? I was probably picturing my own grandmother and, what she would have been wearing. And so that's what I tried to do. But I guess at some point now I've gotten confused on, was this me or was that real? And so, any other questions?
Um, Bill asked, "Are you going to have a movie deal?"
Well, Roy knows the judge, Poli Flores from El Centro, who was one of the ones that also was an advanced reader and read the book to kind of give me his opinion of it. He actually serves currently in the courthouse. I'm getting back to your question eventually. He serves in the courthouse where he figures this trial took place, because he said this courthouse in El Centro is 100 years old. And he sent me pictures of the courtroom he serves in and said this was likely the courtroom where this trial took place. But he keeps talking about it's going to become a movie. It's going to become a movie. So I don't know. We'll see when that be something. I just drew a name, but that person isn't here, so I'm going to keep drawing until someone's here. Oh, Julie, how about that? Okay, Julie, I got one mug left or a book.
I had to unmute me. Well, I already read the book, so I'll take the mug.
You'll take the mug?
Yeah.
Okay. So the mug's gone. Let me write Julie. So I have two more. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, I have two more books to give away. Who hasn't? Has almost everyone gotten a prize? No?
See, we have
Oh,
Roy
that's
got one,
five.
I
There's
did,
I'm
Bill.
I'm ready for seconds if that's the case.
Okay. Well, okay.
I
Let me
mean,
make
how?
a couple of announcements. What, Deanna?
Never mind. I was thinking Jared and Cassie.
Well, I think Cassie got a book in the beginning. Uh, did you get a print book, Cassie? A physical one?
She
Yes.
did.
Okay. I think probably John and Debbie will get them, because
Sounds good.
I think everyone would have gotten one. A couple of announcements. There is two more chances to win a book on Goodreads, goodreads.com. If you go on there and search for the book, there's a drawing going on there. It might be a hard one to win. It's got 3,700 entries. I'm really hoping, and I'm giving away 10 print
That's
books, so
great.
I'm expecting all those ones who didn't win to go buy it. But anyway, if you go on goodreads.com, you can enter the drawing there. It goes until midnight on the 14th. And then also, um, you can still pre-order it, and then you get a chance to win a book if you pre-order it. But I think everyone that hasn't read it yet is winning a book anyway. So, okay. Do we have any more questions for myself or for Jared?
Yes, I have a question for Jared.
Hmm.
So I really liked his voice. That was great, and I'm very sure that it probably sounds a little bit different on the audio because they always do some improvements and some modulations. But what I heard was very, very good. So my question to him is, Jared, do you do any preparation, any voice preparation before you do the recording of the reading?
I do. I coming from a theater background, I do vocal warm ups, different little tongue twisters and things I'll say to kind of get in the zone and in the mode so that my voice is acting properly and that things are responding like they're supposed to. So I do a lot of that and make sure I'm hydrated because that is a huge deal with picking up mic noise and mouth noises on the mic and that kind of thing. So I have kind of a little thing I go through to make sure I'm okay, especially if I'm recording early in the morning. If it's late afternoon, it's not a big a deal because I've been up, I've been talking most of the day, and it's fine. But if I'm recording in the morning, I've really got to go through a solid warm up process before I can actually get it to work right.
Mm.
Thank you, Jared. I'm a filmmaker and a journalist, so
Yeah,
I sort of notice those things, and I appreciate all the work that goes involved into that.
I used to work as a newscaster at the radio station that I worked at. I did the morning and evening news on that station.
Wonderful.
Let's see. I just realized I'm gonna take off the focus mode. I should have just done that earlier since it's a small group. Um, okay, you guys should be able to start seeing everybody again. That was a really good question, Roy. And Jared, I was wondering when you have to do edits, how hard is that? Seems like that
Well,
would be hard.
I do a process of recording that's called punch and roll editing. So as I'm talking, as I'm recording, if I notice I mess up or I stumble over a word, I can stop right then and go back and listen to it, and then it will pick back up with my recording. So I go through and can pick up from the word I messed up on or the sentence and record back through. And I do that as part of the recording process. Then when it's all over, when I've recorded everything, I save the file and I go back through. I usually let it sit for a day or so and then go back and start doing the editing process on it, where I go through and take out weird clicks and mouth noises and double check everything with the script and make sure it's lined up properly and mark all the places for me to go back and do a final edit before I send it to the author. So uh, it's a process. There's some stuff involved with it, but with the software that I use, it takes some of the problems out of it because it cleans up the background noise really well. It can find a lot of the clicks and mouth noises and remove them without me having to go through and do every single one by myself. So there's some things I do that speed it up, but it can be a process sometimes.
I felt bad when I found some mistakes I made in the book that didn't come across to me while I was reading it. And then I'm listening to the audio version and I get the book out and I go, did I really say that? That wasn't right. And then having to ask you to change that. I mean, was that hard? Were you?
It's not hard. That happens all the time. One or two little line edits are not difficult to do. I've had situations where I've had to go back and re-record entire chapters or entire scenes of dialogue because of the accent was wrong or the voice was wrong or something like that. So picking up a word here and there, picking up a sentence here and there is not a big deal.
Oh, oh, good. Okay. Okay. Any other questions for myself or for Jared?
So, Jared, going forward, what do you see happening? Because you've gotten some good feedback today. Are you excited about all that what's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm excited about seeing how this book does, seeing how the sales go. I'm going to be doing some social media posts on my own stuff to kind of help promote it and put it out there and everything. And I'm interested to see where this one goes and what comes next. This was my first true crime. I've narrated
Oh,
fantasy novels. I've done some Christian romance novels. My lights just went out. I've done some Christian romance novels and different things like that. but this was the first true crime that I've done. So it was interesting to do that. My wife is a big fan of the shows, so we watch all the true crime shows and stuff like that on TV. But this is the first time I've narrated one, and she's told me for years that I need to be narrating those shows. And I'm
Okay.
like, well, maybe this will be something that leads to that. Who knows?
Good job.
Maybe. How about that? Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, so we're going to give the last two books to John Ellis and to Debbie Mason. And Cassie, I think I'm still going to send you a final copy. You have one of those draft copies that says not for resale. And I'll send you a good one. And then hopefully I'll hear from you and in your book club. And for the rest of you, thank you for being here. I've never done a virtual launch party for a book coming out, and it's just fun to share the excitement of it with everybody. And if you would be so kind as to share on your social media pages and talk to people about it, um, I would appreciate that.
Thanks, Sherri. Thanks,
Sure
Jared.
will.
Okay.
Thanks, Sherri. And
So
Okay.
I
thanks,
have a
Jared.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I have one more question, Sherry.
Okay.
So at the last book fair, for some reason, I wasn't able to talk to you. Remember that I did a news story regarding the book fair.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would like to interview you over the phone if possible, maybe sometime later on, so that
Okay.
I can do a story about this book and about your launch.
Okay.
I think it's important for Imperial Valley to know about authors like you and to know about creative artists who are
Okay.
making a difference in the area.
Thank you. That would be very helpful, and especially with this book because so much of it takes place in the Imperial Valley. And I've tried to connect with media in the different places like Oklahoma and Missouri, and where there's key scenes from the book in those places, thinking that the citizens of those towns, would be interested in reading about this. So
Very good.
I'll look forward to that. I'll send you my phone number.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks,
okay.
Roy.
Thank you all for being here.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Good night.
Okay. All
Good
right.
Good
talking with
night.
everybody. Y'all have a good one.
Yes.
Thanks,
All
Jared. Thanks,
Thank
right.
you.
Roy. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again.